Well, you have been very generous with your time, Rob. We do appreciate it. And your book, Our King, Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed, is to be strongly recommended to all listeners if you want to understand the King and what he's done.
In Australia, because of the publishers, Allen and Unwin, it's Charles III, Our King, The Man and the Monarch Revealed. So, I mean, there we are. That was the only change in the only part of the world that they changed the title. But there we are. For whatever reason, but I don't care as long as people read it and get a better understanding of my king and choose whether. I mean, there's one line I always say with it, and I think it's something I wrote actually about him, and I say that the king is not concerned with power. He's more concerned with leadership, and he doesn't. It's the bottom line for him is. It's not about power. It's about being a leader, and it's up to others whether they decide to follow him. There's nothing about power in this. It's about leadership.
I was talking to a member of the Legislative Council, the same council which will be 200 years old, and he was saying that he was, when young, a Republican until he came across that conclusion, that saying, and then he realized the role and importance of the crown. And that saying is, the crown is important, not so much for the power that it wields, but the power it denies others. And this is
that's
so
very
important.
And that's fundamental. You see, that's the point. And where we've seen different statesmen, and we have issues, and we only have to look to America at the moment, where there's all sorts of a very split country, right down there. I think that monarchy gives you the chance to heal after an election, which can be very brutal, because you have that continuity. And one thing I noticed at the time, there was so much flux and change going on politically at the time of Her Majesty's death, that the transition of the crown actually was very smooth, and gave people in this country, and I hope other countries too, a sense of calmness, because it was that continuity that enabled people to get through this rather difficult time. I mean, if a president was to die in office, it would lead to political problems for a while, and a lack of decision making. And I think that is where the crown is actually helpful, because it's seen as particularly in this country anyway, but it's seen that it's there as a constant, even while you have changes in political view.
Oh, I agree with you. I used to think that, just seen objectively, Westminster and Washington probably both delivered sound government, or could deliver sound government. But the problem is, if you want to remove a president, he's virtually irremovable unless he agrees to go, because no president has ever been successfully removed, only when he has consented to it. And then you're stuck with the succession, which is fixed. And there's nothing in American history like the smooth change that perhaps is best exemplified by the movement from Neville Chamberlain to Winston Churchill. It was done so quickly, so smoothly, and without any serious problems. It was done by virtually consensus. And
the only other time that we look at removing of effectively a presidential figure was the removal of in Germany by Adolf Hitler of when he merged the chancellorship, yes, where effectively the president, it's a different system in Germany now, which is a revolving door, and the president is seen as basically a figurehead. But there, where he removed it, and it led to what we saw, the build-up of fascism and the rise of the Nazi Party, out of control, even though it wasn't politically at that time. Anyway, it shouldn't have been it would never have got that level of power had it not been for that, that ability to take over the chancellorship and then just remove the job. So I think it's important, as you say at the very beginning of this conversation, it's if Australia is looking to change the system, that they spend a lot of time getting exactly what that is going to be. So, and a lot of time explaining to the Australian people what it's going to be, but also to have the checks and balances in position, so that there is no, so it doesn't, the head of state position doesn't become a politicized position, because I think that would be to the detriment, personally, to Australia and to Australian people, because we've seen that over the last 200 years, by looking at the legislature in the New South Wales, that the system has actually worked.
I think on those very considerable words of wisdom, I must thank you. You've been very generous with your time, Rob, and wish that you continue in this very important role that you have of not only telling us about the personalities of those in the royal family, but also the importance of the institution. Thank you, Rob.
Great to speak to you. I hope to see you, David, when we're down in Australia, and maybe come and talk to some of the people there if we get time. These royal these visits are such a whirlwind. You never know, but yes. I would certainly like to sort of raise a glass with you.
I do look forward to that, and thank you so much, Rob.